I don't mind disagreeing with somebody and not hating them, but a lot of people have a really hard time disagreeing with somebody and not hating like every single aspect of them. I respect Myron as a person. Anything that he said negatively about me, I don't even know if he says negative stuff about me, but anything he said, he'll say to my face on the show, which I also think is another big thing. I won't go on these shows and be like, oh yeah, like Redpill, you know, I disagree a little, but it's like pretty cool. And then go into my stream and be like, this shit is retarded. Right. Like when I'm on the shows, I'm like, this shit is retarded. Even at dinner, we'll fight. I'll say like, this is retarded. But like, there's like a mutual respect and there's everybody knows who each other is. People want to know how you feel about Andrew Tate.
I don't go into the core of Andrew Tate, but I guess the surface shit that I have seen, I guess like the core values, I agree. And then he threw Adam under the bus. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, he told people to like, you guys should unsub from Valuetainment because of everything they do. Yeah, it's just wild. Yeah.
What?
Look at all that. Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay, I think it's hard for people to disagree and still do whatever for a couple of reasons. One, people have a really hard time, like, I don't mind disagreeing with somebody and not hating them, but a lot of people have a really hard time disagreeing with somebody and not hating like every single aspect of them. Yeah. For whatever reason, I can compartmentalize really well. Like, I respect Myron as a person because he seems like a really loyal person. He's never fucked me over personally. He doesn't talk about me or anything like that. Anything that he said
together Reddit keyboard warriors 07.
Hold on. Anything that he said negatively about me, I don't even know if he says negative stuff about me, but anything he said, he'll say to my face on the show, which I also think is another big thing. The second thing is that like, I won't go on these shows and be like, oh yeah, like Redpill, you know, I disagree a little, but it's like pretty cool. And then go into my stream and be like, this shit is retarded. Right. Like when I'm on the shows, I'm like, this shit is retarded, right? When I came into these spaces, so this is kind of a question that I had, and I think I fought with Fresh and Fit, I think, a lot on our first couple episodes, trying to figure out like what are you guys advocating for? So when I would bring up like Andrew Tate tweets and Bugattis and all that shit, a lot of the times these two clowns would tell me, they'd say, oh, this stuff's just a proxy for success. You know, you don't actually need the Bugatti. You need the ability to buy the Bugatti. You don't need to travel the world. You need to have freedom, you know, and all these things. So
it's lucky we're moderating.
Yeah, man. So it feels like, it feels like a
Lamborghini.
But I think there's like a mutual respect that builds from that, because like we'll go out to eat afterwards, and even at dinner we'll fight. I'll say like, this is retarded. But like there's like a mutual respect, and there's everybody knows who each other is. But a lot of people in this industry will be like really polite on a show, and then afterwards they'll get really nasty, and then that's when people start to get really irritated, more than anything else, more than any disagreement.
No, I definitely noticed that. And I think that's what, okay, so serious note, I think like everyone was, a couple of people were like, oh, was it the stitch I did with your video? And they're like, oh, you're associating yourself with that cuck. And I was like, I don't want to open up this portal, guys. And what I learned from everything, again, like I think like coming from being a nail tech, like you don't really think, when you hear people in these debating space, they'll say like, oh, define this, define that, because you're using these terms, you don't really know what they mean, and it doesn't really apply to the person. And I think the crazy sadistic part about you is like you'll own that shit, and then people to actually think it, because at the time I was super slanderous. I was that asshole. I'll own that.
Sure, you're good.
And I get very vile when I like want to just be dirty. That's the thing with people in the space, is and including, that's when I notice people in the space, like you get really dirty, you throw low blows because there's no argument, and you're the sicko that just owns that shit. So then you just own it. Everyone thinks it's normal, and then when I'm like, wait, so you're mad at me because I'm affiliating myself with someone that is quote unquote called a cuck. I'm like, do you know what the definition is? Does that person actually do that? No, well, like, oh, but then now you're just making up shit, which is also what I did, which is why I publicly had to announce this. Well, first privately to you. But then, yeah, so I think that's one of the things I've learned about everything is like when I speak to people and I'm like, can you just define what your definition of what that is now? Because people don't actually understand how the space is. And I'm saying like a guru or anything, but definitely recognize the style of conversation with people. But yeah, super shady. So.
Yeah, that's something I kind of noticed. This is a long time when I just did politics before I even got into Redpill spaces, is generally people will start to go to personal text when they don't have like anything to actually say to you. Yeah. And then, because it's not even like in terms of like my relationship style or whatever, like I don't even recommend what I do to everybody. Now they recommend their style to everybody, but like I'm not here telling everybody like, oh yeah guys, I really do open relationships, blah blah blah, because for a variety of reasons that's crazy. But yeah, people are more obsessed over my relationships and like who me and Melina see than I think even me and Melina are. Like people obsess over it, and it's but what are you gonna do? Yeah, no,
I again, that's why I was like, okay, I need to change the way I view the world and stop being such a dick, because again, it's what you think is normal, but again, someone else probably grew up different. So it's been a bitch to get out of the whole space, and now I just like want to remain under the radar, and I didn't realize like it's gonna follow me everywhere I go.
Do you feel like, is there like anything weird or interesting about like being Asian in like the Red Pill space? Like do you feel like you ever got treated differently like that, or like different types of DMs or different things from like content creators? Like did that ever affect anything, or is it just a whatever thing?
I think for sure being Asian, it does stand out for a little bit, because I think people can't really figure out, maybe I could be wrong, but I'm dissecting this wrong, but they can't really figure out where I stand. It's kind of like, do you agree with this? Do you not agree with this? Is your man black, white, Asian? Like, what is it? So I always get these like penetrating questions that are really annoying because it's irrelevant to half the topics that we talk about.
Sure.
But I do recognize that it opens up doors, and that's another thing that says that when they say that women have these advantages and men don't. And I'm like, well, the advantages come with like a caveat, so it's not really an advantage. Like, you have to blow someone or some shit, and it's like not really an advantage, because if you don't blow them, you get kicked back to the curb, back down with the rest of the gutter. So like, am I really having an advantage? Because I haven't seen it, honestly. I've been like, you think you want to take like the whole forbidden apple thing, and then you realize that there's no benefit to this. So I've definitely noticed you take 5 steps forward and then 10 steps back. Being a girl and being Asian, I'd have to say that, because especially if you're in a relationship. I don't know. Yeah. I could be wrong. I don't know the other side of being on a yacht and all that shit. That's a different experience. So yeah. Yeah.
What?
I'm just thinking about the whole Miami experience. Like, it's cringe. And all of the things that they talk about in these podcasts, like, it's just not real life. I'm thinking about my whole experience here, and I'm like, damn, I haven't been in any of these experiences for them to say that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. There's like so much, and it gets really frustrating. You said something earlier that was kind of weird. There's like, sometimes people will start making arguments, and I don't even know where to start, because they're like so fantastic. Like, I remember I was on a show once, and with Fresh and Fit, and they're like, to truly know if you like a girl, you have to f her first, which is just like, I'm a horny person. I f a lot of people. That's fun for me, but that I would never say something that retarded. Like, of course you know somebody before you f them. What a weird thing to say. Regardless of experience, you can tell who's a 304 or who's like family material without f***ing them first. For you guys, you can probably tell just by looking at their Instagrams. Isn't that what you guys are like professionals at? Is picking out hoes based on their Instagram pictures? You're telling me you have to f through like 30 women to find a good, like, how many conservative men, like, if we brought in like real conservative men who have strong families, how many of them are like, yeah, you know, I had 25 bitches when I was in college in order to find the love of my life right now that can take care of my kids? That's a wild statement. If you want to, that's fine, but don't pretend you're doing it for this fucking altruistic purpose of finding a good mom.
But that's it. Can you admit that when you meet somebody for the first time, right, you're trying to see who they really are, the person, and ultimately you're gonna have sex, right?
I mean,
you don't have to,
but I mean, having sex is like the least important part of seeing what kind of a person they are.
Actually, if you're compatible or not is very important.
If you're compatible, but in terms of like, would this be a good mom? Is it like, what, if she throws it back doggy, she'd probably take the kids like out to the park every day? Like, what does that even mean? Like, what? Like, she doesn't swallow. I don't think she'd feed my kid if I didn't make it home in time. Like, what does that mean?
Okay,
like, so she shows up to blow me every night, so I know she'll be on time picking my kid up from school. So, like, what is the correlation here?
The whole package itself, right, is going to include sex.
And as soon as I brought up, because I was like, oh, like, I think there's ways to know before. They're like, well, what? How could you possibly? And I was like, I don't know. Well, like, if you have chemistry with the person, and like all of them started laughing, and they're like, what is chemistry, dog? And I'm like, what do you mean? Wait, what are you even talking about? Or like them talking about like the whole like, oh yeah, like, it's really well accepted that women will share a high value man. Like every woman knows this. So like multiple women will be okay, like all dating like this. I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like this, no, this doesn't happen. Like outside of like these spaces, you know? It's
a ghetto mentality. Like, everything they say, it's ghetto mentality. It's like a pimp mentality.
Yeah.
Like the type of girls that they want that are like innocent and impressionable they're not going to share the guys that you think they will. I mean, and if they do, it's more so not so innocent, because she's probably a sugar baby or gold digging.
Yeah, that. Or it's like the types of girls. That's another thing that sucks too, is that it's because of the girls in these spaces. And with those types of girls, yeah, probably. However, dating to them is like, you guys like once a week. And then like, maybe you get a meal. I don't even know if they do that, right? But like, it's literally that. Like, these guys are on shows saying like, yeah, you should never live with your partner. And it's like, you guys aren't even like dating. It's not even like, yeah, that's it. I feel like I've been on multiple shows where I've asked like, what is dating to you? Because it sounds like dating to these guys is once.
Yeah.
Like, I dated this girl. No, you didn't date that girl. You hooked up with her. Or like, I'm dating like 5 girls right now. No, there's a few girls that you every now and then. You're not dating any of these women. Yeah, but it's just, it's wild. And again, like, to be clear, I'll reiterate again, if people want to say that they do this and this other their lives, whatever, that's fine. But don't present this as normal. It's like, it's not. It's actually insane. Yeah, like it feels like sometimes like the entire Redpill movement is based on like Andrew Tate's like YouTube videos. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, like this is a normal way to live, and it's like, no, what are you talking about? Yeah.
What I was gonna say about that, I think you're absolutely right. And how do you feel about the stats? I think they always bring up the stats to prove their point, but I like hate it.
Which stats?
They always use stats. Oh, this is like a statistics. Like they always say like women initiate like 70% of divorces, and I always get irritated with that because I think you have to bring up the context behind that, and they don't really do that.
No, every single stat they bring up is like half true or just completely not true, or there's like a really good reason for it. That 80% divorce rate or 70% divorce rate that they bring up is something that's brought up a lot. I still need to research this, especially because I'm going on shows in like a week. But like somebody emailed me and said that 80% divorce rate stat that was brought up because there was one study one time that analyzed a bunch of couples, I think like a few hundred or 1,000 couples, and like of the 80 or I think of like the 55 that got divorced, of 80% of that 55 of those couples, like the woman initiated the divorce. So that number comes from literally, I believe it comes from one study, number one. And number two, even if that was the case, that you grant that women divorce more than men, I had a woman attorney email me who does like family law or whatever. She explained that the reason why, she said she didn't know the exact numbers, but she would believe it if it was true. The reason why is because, especially in case where children are present, women need to get that divorce because they need to get that process started in order to secure everything they need for like their child and them. Like if they want to get insurance, if they want to enroll their kid in school, if they want to do these things, if you're married, as a woman, you're fucked because every questionnaire that you answer, every application for everything, you've got to like put all your husband's information. And for the guy, if the guy is broken up with the wife and he doesn't have the kids, it doesn't matter if you're married or not. Like who the cares? Like you go, it's not like you need your wife to do anything. You just like, you keep working, you do whatever. So it's not surprising in those cases that the woman is like, listen, I need to file for divorce. We need to figure this shit out. Yeah. So considering that women are oftentimes like the ones that are left with the children, it makes sense that they would be the ones that would initiate divorce more often.
How do you feel about alimony?
I think that alimony in principle makes sense. Like alimony is supposed to be, there are like 3 different types of alimony. I'd have to go and check. Somebody email me all the different types. But like alimony is essentially supposed to be like, let's say that we stay home. I have children with a woman, and then she forgoes her whole career, and for 10 years she raises the children, and I do all the work. If we split up at that point, her life is fucked. And my life is perfect because I've gotten to pursue my career for 10 years and do all of my stuff. And the only reason I was able to is because she decided to forego hers and stay home and care for the children. So like in cases like that, I could see like, yeah, some kind of alimony until she's like on her feet for 2 to 4 years or whatever. Like that makes sense. I could buy that. I will say though, alimony is quite rare. It's like 10% of all divorces even have alimony involved in them. So I mean, like it's not like a norm that women are out here like stealing money from all these men and everything. Like it just doesn't happen that often. And then when you go to the bottom side of the stats, this is something that frustrates me a lot too. They always talk about how like moms over dads and divorce all the time and everything. But like when you think about like what is the stereotype of a single mom? It's not like a woman that has like a 4-bedroom house to herself who's like rich off of her baby. Like half of single moms don't even get their full child support paid to them. You know, so it's like so dumb. And like everybody knows this, especially, not to be mean, but especially in Black communities. Like people know this, that like single moms aren't out here living these luxurious lives, you know, like buying their 3rd or 4th chain from like all the child support their baby daddy sent it. Like it doesn't happen, yeah.
I testify for that. I grew up in the ghetto community. Damn. Okay. Passport bros.
I think it's cringe. It's one of the grossest, cringiest things in the fucking world. I think that you can like argue for like you meet women. So like my wife is technically foreign. Like I think you can meet women in other countries and that's fine. If you go to France, you go to Germany, you go to South America, you meet a woman, you fall in love, you get married, like that's fine. But people who are like, I need to get away from these Western women and I need to find a submissive, docile, non-aggressive woman from like Eastern Europe. Like it sounds to me, whenever I hear people like that, I think you actually said this to the MLD guy. Whenever I hear people talk about needing young, trainable wives or like overseas women, it sounds like they want a woman that is too naive or young or stupid to call them out on their shit, or somebody that is desperately needing you as a lifeline for a finance or passport, or I'm sorry, a green card. Yeah. And that's why you're trying to get into relationships with them. Yeah.
Okay. I'm running out of things to try to disagree on, but
you guys brought up, you pushed back on that one thing too, which is, I'm so happy because nobody ever brings it up. I think it was you. It was either you or the other girl with you and Melina. When Adam said this, that men grow from trauma and women are hurt by trauma. If you want to talk about stats, what an unimaginably retarded thing to say. Like, where are all of these psych studies that show that like men are better people for trauma? Like, what a fucking retarded thing to say. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
I think there were so many things on that podcast in specific that I was like, damn, this is starting to really hit me when he said that millionaires were common. I almost jumped out of my chair.
Oh yeah, there's more millionaires today than ever before. It's like, okay, yeah, like, but like, yeah, like how common do you think this is? But I mean, like you're in Brickell, right? This is why they're, or actually, I'm sorry, Valuetainment is in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, it's because of the spaces that they hang out in, right? With like a bunch of other rich people. And it's like, yeah, I guess it's like you, like being a nail tech, you hear women, you hate women. Yeah. He's a rich finance guy. He sees other rich finance guys like, oh, everybody must be a millionaire today. And it's like,
he thinks everyone's also really hot too. And that's, I'm like, dude, not everyone's really hot. I'm like, there's a lot of average people out there that are just other average people. Yeah. And I don't have the stats for these things. I think it's just kind of common sense that it irritates me that they have these bullshit stats and I can't really argue with them. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll just sit here and just argue back and forth all day long. Yeah.
If you ever get bored and want to do, I don't know how much you research it or whatever, but like anytime you dig into any of these numbers, they're just like, they're always like half true. Like, have you ever heard the one where they're like, if a woman is graduated from college, she's got a 90% chance of initiating divorce?
I've heard it.
They say that all the time. I believe that number is true, but the overall rate of divorce is way lower for more educated people. So if you want your marriage to stick together, you're always better off marrying a more educated person. But in the rarer cases where they do divorce, the women more often initiates it. But that's one of, you would never guess that, because based on how they say that 90% number, you're thinking like, holy if I marry any educated woman, I'm but the more educated you are, the higher the chance your marriage has of like lasting longer.
Right.
So it's like all of the numbers are like half true or just like stupid. Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Generally, they say that divorce is a woman's fault. What are your views on that?
This is like one of those things where like, it's very frustrating to talk to people because I can tell that like you just don't have any relationship experience, and it sounds mean to say that, but like it's really, really, really hard to ever figure out like whose fault a breakup is or a divorce. I'll even go as far as to say in cases of like cheating, I'll even go as far as saying in cases of abuse sometimes it's really hard to tell whose fault it is, because there are some people that could drive people fucking insane, and like shit goes crazy and shit happens. Not to say you should never hurt anybody or abuse anybody, of course, but like anytime you're in that mentality of like, oh, like 52% of relationships were ended and you can tell it was the woman's fault, it's usually, breakups are way more complicated than that. It's really hard to say like it's usually a long list of things that start to compound into other things, and then like shit gets fucked.
Okay, agree. Fuck.
What did you think about like the man leading thing? You mentioned that earlier. Do you think there's some truth to that, or?
Well, you said it the same way that I fuck it. There's different areas that I'm better at leading in. There's some things he's better at leading in. It just really depends on what you guys decide in the relationship. But I think that's not as black and white as what they make it seem like. When they say traditional gender roles, I don't think that really exists anymore, since women are also working. And I think it's actually more beneficial that women are working. I think that two people to work and to build a household nowadays, I don't know why they complain about having to do everything, and then they want to shove you in the kitchen, and they're mad that they have to do everything themselves. And then go across the country to get a chick who has no idea how to drive a car here. You're still gonna have to teach your girl something. So whether you teach each other how to learn each other's like, I don't know, habits or whatever, or you can go marry a chick who doesn't speak English, teach her how to drive, teach her how to speak English, teach her how to work in America. It's just, they're very selective about it. Yeah,
and they don't have like this is going to be a topic that I'll have to explain next time. What are their ideal relationships? Because for all these red pill guys, they're talking about like, I don't want a woman that's masculine and works, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, like, but what do you provide to these women? Like, they'll say like, well, I make a lot of money. Okay, yeah, but she doesn't live with you. Like, you're not buying her meals. You didn't give her a food card for lunch. Like, what are you providing her? And then like, and realistically, in my personal opinion, and I'm a man of the modern era, I think obviously both people should work, except if you've got like kids. I can understand like one parent, generally the woman, like taking time off work, but like these guys don't want to have kids, and these guys, and they also don't want to have, also this is another crazy thing, is these motherfuckers will talk about, they talk about so many things that are contradictory. They'll talk about how important it is to have families and shit, but then they'll talk about like never wanting to get married. Yeah. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you are actually mind-numbingly fucking stupid if you really think that a woman is going to be willing to commit to having children with you, but you won't even commit to marriage to her. Yeah. You're out of your mind.
I think that's it goes back to the ghetto mentality, because when I grew up with seeing how marriages were and how my family were, I was like, damn, I don't want to be married ever. So I was like super anti-marriage, anti-kids for a really long time, until I got into this space, and I was like, dude, that's so unhealthy. And then you start building your character, and you start building more relationships, and everyone's like, why don't you? You're in such a better place. And I'm like, you know what? I am institutionalized. What the is wrong with me? Sure. I think that's what it is. Like, when I listen to a lot of these guys talk, before I would hear like people would push on like, oh, you're insecure, or maybe who hurt you, and you would think it was just like a petty insult, but there is a core. Like, a lot of people are hurt and they don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, and you talk about men's mental health, but like, you're not really allowing each other to tap into the actual hurt and to grow from it. Sure. It's really disappointing. Again, full circle about that.
Yeah. To be fair, like, saying who hurt you is not a good argument. Like, you have to be able to back it up with more. I can understand people wanting to fight back against that, because they would probably say the same to me or to other, anybody else too. But yeah.
But I think there is a core to it, though. I think, like, not just saying like who hurt you, but it's essentially like, if it gets to that point, if someone's saying that, I think I would question like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean when you say that? Can we talk about this? But I wouldn't start like insulting people for no reason at this point. No more insulting. Sure. Damn, we agree on everything. We don't know what to talk about.
Do you are you like a big Trump DeSantis supporter, or which one?
I think, okay, the reason why I'm like so tricky on that answer, that I'm so torn because I think I understand from like a business standpoint and then also from like a consumer's like position. So moderately, I guess like Trump, but then it gets a little bit iffy. And also, I don't really know. So maybe that's something I have to be educated on. Oh, Scotty. That's cool. I know him.
Wait, this guy?
I've seen him before.
This exact person?
Yeah.
In my Kick chat, really?
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
Recently, I think he made a video calling MLD a bitch. It was the funniest thing ever. It was the most genuine reaction ever, and I thought it was hilarious. I think, unless it's not the same person, I could be wrong.
Do you know who the Saint and the Sinner is?
Oh my god, I saw that video. That video was hilarious.
Holy shit.
Did you watch he did a receipt video also, and I thought that was disgusting the way that was. Okay, I think it was important that everyone wanted me to post the receipts because MLD reached out to apologize to me, but it was like a bullshit apology, and I was like, no, like we started this publicly, we're gonna end this publicly, and if it's not, I don't want it. And then to see like what that Saint guy did, even though I saw his other videos, I think he's an asshole. Yeah,
but he's actually a sociopath, and he's also a scam artist, but it was really funny watching those two.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Do you realize that you're making a claim with no evidence whatsoever? I can turn around.
It's Marquette. It's Mark. Call him Mark or Marquette.
And say, where's the MLD coin?
I didn't make a coin.
The dumb question you asked me, I can ask you.
I didn't make a coin. What are you talking about?
Where is the MLD coin?
I never made one.
How I heard you scammed people for $10,000 on the MLD coin. What about those people?
Information.
What?
That's wrong with MLD is that he's too passive. I don't know how locked in the personality traits are, but like in terms of like overall personality, like he is like a type B beta guy, but he's trying to present himself as like a traditionally alpha guy. I don't even like to use these terms. These guys just use them. But the problem is he's like the MLD guy is trying to play a role that he's clearly not suited for. He doesn't have the personality type for it. So it's a little cringe when he walks out here and he tries to do it.
It's defamation.
Right, exactly, you dumb That's what you're doing.
All right, so you're gonna sue me too?
I don't sue people for defamation.
Where's your coin?
Your words about me.
All right, you're just gonna dodge that?
I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. Explain that scam to me. Explain that scam. Shit, I want to do it again. What was the scam? Explain the scam. And who were the victims? What's the receipt? Explain the scam.
So did somebody make a coin in your name?
Explain the scam.
But I'm asking you the question.
You have 2 minutes.
You're dodging the question.
Look at how stupid you look. You're an idiot. The same questions you're asking, I can ask you. It's called lies. You're just trying to reach for something because you don't have any information. I'm yielding the floor. You have 3 minutes. Just explain the scam to us real quick, and we'll all be happy.
I heard that you had a coin and you rugged.
Okay. Well, how do you know that that's the case? I heard you had a coin. I heard you rugged.
On the Wayback Machine here. That's your logo, right? That's the same one?
Explain to us.
On the Wayback Machine?
Explain to us. My logo is also on the screen. It's everywhere. Explain. See, let me tell you what you're from. You're from the new school of imbeciles who have such low IQ. You just give a conclusion, but you don't explain. You're like a tranny who says, I'm a woman. And I'm like, well, no, you're not.
Okay, look, I'm not going to stay on the screen. Okay, just to sit here and fucking insult me.
And he stays here for another 45 minutes. Go at each other because, yeah, the MLD guy was like, so... like, hey, I just thought we were gonna be friends. I'm like, you're not helping men right now, dude. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is like, it was pure comedy watching all of this unravel online. And somebody was like, you should have canceled. I was like, I don't want that to be my identifier that I continuously drag this on. But I'm so glad that Saint guy did it. And then I think he still got trolled for being like snaky. So I don't really know much about him, but I saw his video and I thought he was a little bit of a fucking sicko. So I was like, oh, hard pass. Damn, what else was that? There's this other video. So, damn, I don't know if I can talk about that with her.
What?
Fuck.
Oh,
there was a girl. There was a girl that like, so that week in specific. So like Melina dragged him on the whatever pod, which is perfect. And there was a girl that I recently became. It was like trauma bonding almost. And she reached out to me as she saw the video with MLD. I'm not gonna specifically name her, I guess, just to courtesy, because I don't really know how comfortable she is about it. But he legit he was such a on that podcast with this other wannabe fresh and fit guy. And next thing you know, this girl's walking off they kicked her off because she was just sitting there to cry because she didn't know what to do. But it was because they kept like MLD was like showing signs of like being an abusive and gaslighting everything.
Okay.
And that was the beginning signs of him. Like she mentioned, like how she saw like, oh, this guy must be an abuser. Da, da, da. After seeing what I did to him on Valuetainment and other people posting all this stuff, it was confirmed that signs of an abuser was all around, and we were just choosing to ignore. Which I don't understand why we platform these types of people. I think that's what really confuses me, that there's actually people supporting him.
I think that is a huge indictment of the character of a lot of these people. So for instance, like Rolo is an annoying, gossipy fucking bitch, but like I don't think he actually has like any evil skeletons in his closet. At least not that I've ever heard of. But the people that he defends, he defends actual trash people, like Donovan Sharp, I think is garbage. The MLD guy is fucking garbage. Like he'll go to bat for all these dudes, and I was like, what the f is wrong with you guys? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Again, saying that I'm a felon, that you wouldn't debate me, but then you associate yourself with Donovan Sharp and MLD. Very funny, you old fart. Very funny. So I don't really know how people, again, I guess like unraveling everything, finding out how everybody operates. Because before moving here, everyone's like, dude, that's so sick. That's so sick. And then I meet all these people, I'm like, wow, you guys suck.
Yeah.
So
people want to know how you feel about Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate? Okay, so I don't go into the core of Andrew Tate, but I guess the surface shit that I have seen, I guess like the core values, I agree with some of the things he says, because I guess from like a traditional-ish standpoint, but I think it's too extreme for what I believe in, and also I feel like it's like a business strategy the way that he does it. So part of me is torn. I'm torn at like, is this guy just like putting on this like facade to sell something, or is it actually believes in? So it's like 50-50. As far as the things that were claimed or accusations, I don't know the actual details, because I think at a certain point I was like, we're like grown people doing homework on this guy. I don't really care about what he's doing with his life.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
It's always like a really hard thing, because like I'll see some clips in long form where like it sounds like the meat of what he's getting at is like pretty good, and then in other things it's like one of the things that I have like a really hard time with, I'm not like the traditional conservative guy to do it, but like I come from a Catholic background. Like I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I know what like traditional relationships work like, and I know what healthy traditional relationships are supposed to look like. One thing that I don't like is it feels like people co-opt, and I think Andrew Tate did this quite a bit. People co-opt these terms of like the hierarchical structure of a traditional relationship with the man at the top and the woman at the bottom, but the way that they speak about the role sometimes just comes off as so derogatory. Like even in a traditionally conservative relationship, like the man and the woman have a lot of respect for each other. There isn't this like the man at the end of the day might be the leader, but he sure as is never implying that like my wife is submitting to me. Like that type of terminology is insanely cringe. And even in like the most traditional relationships, I don't think like people are even thinking in those terms, because again, like people typically have like their different domains that they're working in. So yeah, I don't know, I wish sometimes like people can come out and talk in favor of like conservative relationships, where even like the man is making like some important household decisions about where the family might live, if he's going to move for work or whatever, for stuff like that. But a lot of it just feels like a mask on hatred for like women sometimes, the way that they speak about it, which is like kind of cringe, I think.
I feel like it has turned into that, and that's why I keep saying I don't know if this is just like from a marketing standpoint for them, because it keeps them in business, or if they actually believe in it because they continuously surround themselves with those types of girls. Because I do recognize there's bad in the world. Like I told somebody, it was like, if you're gonna walk down a crackhead alley, you're gonna assume that's the entire world. That's just the alley you walked on. That's not the entire world. But to them it's like, no, but it's just the second alley I've walked on. But keep walking.
I say this in the US all the time. Like if you go to like Chicago or Detroit or LA, like there are up parts. There are also really nice parts. It just depends on where you're at. You know, like Chicago is not like Fallujah. Like it's like a war zone. Like it just depends on where you're at, and that's true like in these spaces, and it's true of women and black people and men and white people and Americans and European. You have to gain like more experiences, so you're not like stereotyping everything. Like the average human needs like 1 to 3 experiences to stereotype like everything. Like a person will meet like 2 Indians that are rude to them and like tell their friends like like Indians are just horrible people. It's like, okay, I
think the people lack the compartmentalizing. That's really what it is, because it's like I've met a bunch of shitty people, but I'm like I'm dumb enough to continuously try it again, to like maybe have good faith and build a relationship, because if not, you're always gonna like just assume that everyone is a racist or everyone's a piece of shit. And I think they also again lack creating that safe space for women to want to be vulnerable and be like submissive to them, because it can be, But I definitely realized, like, I pictured myself, okay, if I were to fix bridges, who would I apologize to? I would only apologize to people that I know would be logical enough to understand, okay, this isn't like malicious or being a piece of shit, whatever it is, or calculated. Like, if I, like, when I wrote you the email, I was like, okay, this person seems very logical. Also, I just like to get off my chest in case I die.
Okay, jeez.
The extreme thoughts of it. I was like, I don't want to have this in the back of my mind that I'm a piece of shit. So let me just do it. And I really don't feel like, what I've learned is, like, if I tried and someone rejects me, at least I tried. But majority of the time, if you're being calculated enough, you'd know that this person isn't going to reject you because it's like they're not a piece of shit. But the guys in the space that recognize that even if you're down bad, if you are just like getting kicked on the ground, they'd continue kicking, and they would join, and they'd laugh, they'd spit in your face, and then they're like, well, you're women, like, you aren't submissive. Like, I got called masculine on the Valuetainment thing for saying that stuff to MLD, and I was just like, well, what was I supposed to do? Just like endure it? Like, literally just sit through? I hate saying that word now because, like, now it just reminds me of it, because I think that is a common word.
What? Oh, endure.
It's a common.
I mean, it's like, that was just the funniest shit in the world. Like, I'm sorry for him to go from that, like, into your abusive relationships to, like, just folding like a fucking lawn chair in a hurricane in like 2 seconds on that show was just so funny.
I don't know. Honestly, I think it would have been fun if it was just me, him, and like Nat. Like the other girl, well, actually Mel, but like I feel like Mel was just gaslighting him at that point. Yeah. So to me,
he would have done the same shit because he did it with the Saint Sinner guy too. You also saw him like,
he was running in circles.
He just has a very hard time. I don't like to do this. It sounds like mean. Or I'm not trying to like make it. He has like very like shy boy, like type B, like beta. I don't like to use alpha beta, but like he's very much like he needs somebody to like take care of him. Like, I don't think he could ever be confrontational. I don't even mean like in a fighting way. Like, I mean like in a conversation. I think he has a really hard time being like, hey, I don't like you. F you. Like, I don't think he has it in him to do that.
Yeah, I think he creates a lot of the drama to like create attention for himself. And I noticed the name dropping thing. So it's just like he name drops a lot to like, I don't know, fight his battles for him or something. So the guy really doesn't have any backbone or like anything. All the masculine framed stuff that he talks about. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Even from like a ghetto standpoint, like the people in my family don't do that. Like they at least own that they're barbaric and like they're crazy. I'm like, but you're not even owning the fact that you don't have any actual structure. This is like cringy. It's very cringy. It's like fraudulent to see that. So yeah. Yeah. And then he threw Adam under the bus. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, he told people to like, you guys should unsub from Valuetainment because of everything they do. Yeah, it's just wild. Yeah.
What?
I don't know what this is, but it's not okay. And in my world, where you're supposed to say you're my friend, you're supposed to say we're cool, all right? I don't do things like this to friends, right? When you're gonna put me on a thumbnail here with steam coming out of my ears. And
that's our picture, right? That's from my community, is that?
Trying to make me look like a fool. I don't do that to any of my friends. I'm not one of these Miami people who like they're okay with snaking each other for clout. All right, but this is not a good look, bro. It's not a good look. And moving forward, I am no longer ever going to go on Valuetainment money. And honestly, I would implore everybody who supports the Redpill community, men doing self-improvement content, I would say unsubscribe from Valuetainment money. Don't give them any more bullshit because it's clear that there is some kind of nefarious agenda going on there.
I was like, why would you throw this guy under the bus, regardless of the like the heavily assumptions back to back to back to back? And I'm like, I don't know. Very disappointing with people in the space that backed him up also. So
yeah.
This is like a little therapy session. I can't afford real one, so this is pretty free.
Yeah, no problem. Is your full-time job still like nail-related stuff, or do you do something different now?
No, so my family runs the salon at this point, but we're doing like the salt product. So like during COVID, I did this product where like I packaged it and stuff, and it's like Himalayan salt with like chili peppers. Okay. So it was like a family thing that we did before we're like iodine salt. Then we tried Himalayan salt. Then it did really well. So then
wait, what are you doing? I have no idea. Are you like in salt fields, like, or like?
So I basically brand and packaged it like we grew up eating salt with fruits. Okay. So like American we eat like I think sugar with fruits, so we do salt. So I pretty much packaged it. My family was like, I had a customer that her dad owned like a liquor store, and she goes, dude, like I really like this salt. If you package it, we'll put it on our shelf. And I was like, shut the f up. So I like spent like 3 weeks just kind of like figuring out how to design and like package it and like label it, barcodes and all that stuff. My family was like, what are you doing? So I was like, just trust me, guys. And then Susie really liked it. And then next thing you know, it was on like one shelf. And I was like, dude, what do I have to pay to put it on the other stores? And I think like that was the beginning of me like opening my mind of like, oh wow, you just got to ask questions. And that's why I got mad at the Redpill stuff, because it's like I've done some pretty cool things that I am proud of, but I had to like push it down way down low, because then like they shit on you for doing these things. But like
no guy's gonna give a fuck that you package salt. They just want you to be 21 with no in you, right? That's like their entire conversation over and over again. Yeah.
No, it's been like that. And I'm like, dude, my family's proud of it and they're happy with it, and it's doing really well in the stores and like Amazon or whatever. And even like the salon stuff, like they're so like, I feel like I was able to reinvent what they only knew of like salons. Like most salons are pretty ghetto. And again, like they have like just like a random cash box. They can't monitor their money, no POS system. Like my family's so old school. They're like, dude, we don't need it. I'm like, no, you need it, because you're always gonna be stuck here. You're gonna be miserable. You guys want to go on vacations and stuff. So I think like doing all these things, like seeing that you can do it all, it's hard, but it's worth it. I think like it's you're able to like grow mentally, and also like have empathy on how like an actual, I guess, like modern man would feel in the working field, I guess, like what they claim, like fighting war and all that crap. But it's a lot of work, but it's worth it, because I think like I would have been stuck in a bubble and entertaining my brain with like trash TV if I wasn't doing that. So like what else would I be doing? Like waiting for Prince and Charming to come save me from a castle? Like what era are we in?
Yeah. Where guys are even making enough money on average to do that. Yeah,
I don't understand it. And I'm like, I mentioned, I'm like, the average woman has to work. Like I don't understand why they're making it seem like working is so bad. There's nothing wrong with working. It's just you suck at relationships. You don't want to understand women, and then you're mad at us for working. You're using any excuse to say you're working and that's why relationship sucks. Like, all right, why don't you take the lead like you said you wanted to lead? But
true.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the brand name for your salt? People in chat are asking.
Pink salt, like PYNK salt. Go down. Yeah, there it is.
This one?
Yeah, it's all of them. So we have the one that's a grinder and one that's for drinks and cooking. So I do it for fruits, for cooking, and like drinks. So it's and 3 different flavors too. We have like, and they're all spicy. Do you like spice? Don't tell me you don't like spice.
I eat way spicier food than you do, okay? Don't even try me, okay? I love spice. Wait, have you ever heard of the one chip challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that, no problem.
No way.
Okay? Yeah, I did. There's a video of me on the internet doing it. No problem, okay?
You didn't turn red at all?
No, but I was really cocky because I do like spicy food a lot. So I didn't drink any milk or do any of that shit, and I ate the chip just fine. But I'm really lucky in that I never have stomach problems. What are you guys talking about here? So I didn't think anything of it, and 6 hours later, I guess I went to go to sleep, and I took like a swig of water or whatever, and I had the worst pain of my life for about 5 or 10 minutes. It was horrible, but I did eat it, and I am a warrior.
Oh no.
Oh, but anyways, yeah, I linked your salt in chat if you want to buy it. Sorry, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, if you like spice, it's cool, but it makes food yummier, I guess. And yeah. Asian people, they're happy. I don't know if you have any Asian chats, but it's muyak. So.
Wait, what?
It's called muyak, like translation. Like,
for salt?
Yeah, like we translate the word, it's mui as in salt, and then uk as in spicy.
Oh, okay. Wait, what language is this?
Vietnamese.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to assume, but you said no tech, so.
But I didn't want to assume because you were white. I was like, wait, can he handle spice? Well, maybe.
True.
Wait.
You were racist first, so yeah.
Wait, are you actually white? Or are you just like some? I don't know. It could be anything. I feel like my Cuban friends look pretty white also.
I'm half Cuban. Fuck you. Okay. My mom looks very white too, though. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could be Cuban technically and be white. Like you could be Mexican and be white, although it's not as common because it all depends on like which like Spanish speaking people, like the Castizo versus Mestizo, like ethnic people came over, and like some are more white and others are not. So yeah.
There's a lot of Cubans in Miami, so I guess you fit right in.
True, I do. Yeah, definitely. That's the lifestyle I lead. So.
Yeah, I think we're.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody earlier mentioned that, I'm sorry, I know what I was looking for. Somebody said that when you said ghetto, you just meant unorthodox because you were talking about like the how they were running the nail salons. I was going to correct them. And a lot of like poorer businesses, like a lot of people will still literally have like an old ass fucking cash register. But the problem is that it's hard to track like sales. It's hard to make reports. It's hard to just, if you don't have like a budget or you don't see what's going in and out of your store, and you don't have like a central system for collecting everything, it's really easy for a lot of money to just kind of vanish. Not even like maliciously, but you just don't see what's going on. I'm pretty sure that's what you meant when you said ghetto, not just unorthodox.
It was like literally everything. Like we had like a little a little shack. It was like a couple of chairs, and they were like selling chips in there while they were doing nails. It was like some ghetto shit, and nobody spoke English either. It was very depressing. So for me, it was like, yeah, it's like, when are we gonna get with the times? And I think like fighting with them on that, they wouldn't let me do anything. Like there was no control. And they were like, dude, you're younger than this, you wouldn't know every stupidest thing. So I like quit them during COVID. I got like vetoed out of the entire family for that. They hated me for that. But then I worked for strangers, and I was like, wow, like I'm making way more money with strangers, and they have a cash register and they can monitor everything, and you guys are putting it in like a random, I don't even know, it was like a money box or something. I don't even know. It was so no, it was a cigar box. Cigar box. I was like,
did they have anybody like doing tax stuff at all, or
no? They were just like trying to get the cash. They're like, cash, can you bring cash?
Yeah, that's every time. I always tell people that if you're ever at a small business and people ask you for cash, it's because they've got 2 sets of books. because they don't want to fucking report the income.
It's so like, I don't know, like, I don't know, I've learned so much about like money and how all that stuff, just because like if I don't do it, no one's gonna do it. So again, that's why I hate the guys in the manosphere space now, because they're like shitting on women who like don't have a choice, and I'm like, what the am I supposed to do? Like just wait around? And the internet is free. There's literally knowledge everywhere. So yeah, it's been very interesting in the growing space. So but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, where can they find you if they want to?
Oh, okay. Angela Knight 2.0.
Angela Knight 2.0.
Or you can find me on the deepest, darkest part of your Reddit stuff.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
So if you guys see that part, please, that's not me anymore.